Wow. Wow, if you guys have been living under a rock these last couple hours and don't know by now, Xabi Alonso has officially been sacked as the Real Madrid manager, or going off the official statements from Real Madrid. The club and Xabi Alonso came to a mutual agreement for him to no longer be the manager of Real Madrid. And the reason I'm putting quotation marks is because I don't know what to believe. There's been news that Xabi Alonso got sacked, and there's been news that Xabi Alonso himself decided to leave. I don't know, but whatever the case, it's still a bad situation for Real Madrid. And honestly, it truly was shocking because after the Supercopa final yesterday and even this morning before the news broke out, I hadn't seen any type of news that Xabi Alonso was going to get sacked, that he was going to lose his job. If anything, I've only been seeing that he was going to continue his work as the Real Madrid manager, which to me made sense because, yes, we all understand the difficult situation that Madrid are currently in, the tension between the players and the manager, blah, 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 a lot of problems, yes. But looking at the overall picture of Madrid's season so far, they're 4 points behind Barcelona in La Liga. There's still potential of them getting top 8 in the Champions League. It will take a massive fumbling for them not to achieve that. And there's still a lot of trophies up for grasp because, yes, yesterday's loss against Barcelona was a major loss. It was a tough loss, especially because it's bragging rights and it involved a trophy. But in Xabi Alonso's own words, it wasn't a massive trophy. It wasn't the biggest trophy of what's still up for grasp for the remainder of the season. So I genuinely believe that he was going to continue his work until the end of the season. They're going to give him to the end of the season, and from there they're going to assess the situation if he deserves to stay at Madrid or not. But nope, he is gone now. He is gone. And again, I don't know what to believe if Florentino and the board themselves decided to sack him, which I can totally believe that, or if Xabi Alonso wanted to leave himself, which is also, both of these sides are believable, but it's still overall a bad look for Real Madrid because either way, I think the main guy that's losing right now is Florentino Perez, because if he sacked Xabi Alonso, if he's the one that's decided to sack Xabi Alonso midway through the season, it's a bad look for him because, like, now what are you going to do? Because at that point, you're really just showing to the fans and that you gave up halfway through the season because you really think Arbeloa is going to come in and make a huge change. No, he's going to be interim manager for probably the remainder of the season. But we all know he's not going to bring massive amounts of changes of what was expected with Xabi Alonso. So at that point, you're pretty much saying you gave up the season. And if Xabi Alonso decided to leave himself, another bad look for Florentino because Florentino put his trust in Xabi Alonso and he's quitting halfway through. Either way, bad look for Real Madrid and a massive bad look for Florentino Perez. But I'm honestly leaning towards Florentino Perez sacking Xabi Alonso because after yesterday's game against Barcelona and overall the Supercopa from Real Madrid, a lot of talk has been said already that if Xabi Alonso had lost the Supercopa either to Atletico Madrid in the semifinal or Barcelona in the final, that he was going to be sacked. He scraped his way through against Atletico Madrid because we all saw that game. It was a terrible game. And then in the final, another terrible performance because I'm guessing Florentino just saw that and he was like, what the hell is this? You have to go. You have to go. He cannot allow that to be played at his club. Haram ball, negative football being played at Real Madrid with the amount of talent that they have, unacceptable. And in the end, losing as well, because if you play haram ball and in the end get a result, fair enough. All right, boom, you made it work. But if you play haram ball with the amount of talent that you have and you lose, unacceptable. And we know Florentino, he does not accept defeat, especially in an embarrassing matter. So I'm guessing after that, he was like, all right, I'm done with him. And of course, of all the things in the videos that have been coming out as well, like the main one where Kylian Mbappe told the players, we're not making a guard of honor for Barcelona when Xabi Alonso was telling his players to make one for them. And Mbappe was like, nope. And all the players followed Mbappe, basically meaning they don't respect Xabi Alonso's words. They don't respect what decision he makes. And we all know, once you lose the dressing room, there's no way back. But this feeling of Xabi Alonso getting sacked has been had for the last couple months now because of the negative football that Real Madrid have been playing, the not getting the best out of a lot of their players, the lack of system, the lack of identity, and of course the tension, the main thing, the tension between the players and the manager, especially the likes of Vinicius Jr. Because I think the main culprit of Xabi Alonso's sacking is definitely Vinicius Jr. I think he's the one that started it all out for Xabi Alonso's downfall with the dressing room and his authority in the Madrid dressing room. Because we all remember it, the Clásico. Vinicius Jr. has a pretty good game, then puts up a temper tantrum when Xabi Alonso decides to to substitute him, and then he makes a whole spectacle to the world where I wasn't even excited. When I saw that, I was so excited because I'm like, all right, you're killing the dressing room. You're going to break the dressing room apart. And then boom, we saw the whole outburst between a split of Madrid fans, of some supporting Vinny and some supporting the manager. Because in the end, they won the game, so it was a great feeling for them as Madrid fans. But the main question mark is, does Xabi Alonso have the respect of his players? Because for a player to do that, that means he doesn't respect you. And what made it even worse was the apology, where he didn't include Xabi Alonso in the apology. That makes it even worse for Xabi Alonso's case. But for me, undoubtedly, I believe that Vinicius Jr. is the main culprit as to why Xabi Alonso is getting sacked and why he lost favoritism from certain players in the club, in the room, in the dressing room, and overall. Again, when you lose the respect from the dressing room, you can't change that situation. It's going to be very difficult to change the situation. But overall, through the season, we saw that Xabi Alonso was just not up for the job. Earlier in the season, I said that Xabi Alonso's main thing is that he needed to get right was to learn how to be a great manager, because we all saw the great things he did with Leverkusen, but let's be honest now, the players that he had at Leverkusen are nowhere near the level that he has at Real Madrid. It's a different caliber of players, because at Real Madrid, they have superstars, they have winners, Champions League winners, players with a bunch of big egos. Well, at Leverkusen, Xabi Alonso had young, fresh faces who are ready to prove themselves. While at Real Madrid, they're already proven it, so their egos are sky high. So Xabi Alonso's main priority should have been getting into Real Madrid, stepping his foot down and saying, all right, guys, I understand you're champions. I understand you guys are world-class players, but I am the authority figure here. You guys have to listen to what I said. And clearly, that's not been the case. That has not been the case. At the beginning of the season, we saw that Xabi Alonso had some changes, and we saw some changes in Real Madrid with their identity, with new styles of play, with a better defensive structure, where they started to get great results at the beginning months of the season until their major loss against Atletico Madrid. But then after the Clásico, after the temper tantrum against Vinicius Jr., we saw that Xabi Alonso started to be more lenient. A Xabi Alonso that had no problem benching players, substituting players out, except for Kylian Mbappé, that's it, of course, then changed into a player who gave favoritism to the players, or like, all right, I'll do what you guys want, just to try to keep the dressing room together. I guess that authority figure that he tried to be, he saw that it didn't work out, so he saw the only solution was try to be like Ancelotti and be like, all right, I'll play what you guys want to play, or do what you guys want to do, and started playing players more consistently. And then we saw a dip in form in Real Madrid, where they started tying a bunch of games, where that lead they had after the Clásico, they dropped off, and the Champions League weren't convincing enough, even though they were getting wins. And now we're at this point where he got sacked overall, because a lot of changes in your philosophy, a lot of changes as to the manager, the man manager you want to be. It's not a great change, especially only in a couple months. If it comes down to years later, all right, that changes can be made years later to a manager's approach to the way that they want to coach a team. But for it to happen in a couple months because of certain players, that's unforgivable, and there's no way back. I remember the one game against Celta Vigo, I think it was, when they lost at the Bernabeu. I think it was Celta Vigo, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it was Celta Vigo. When they lost, they had no right back, and he put Raúl Asensio as a right back instead of Federico Valverde, which to me showed me that, all right, you want to go and listen to what Federico Valverde wants instead of what the team needs. Because we all remember months ago or weeks before, I forgot how much time before then, Federico Valverde expressed that he doesn't like playing as a right back and that he didn't enjoy playing as a right back. He'd rather play as a midfield, blah, 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 blah. People were seeing that he was speaking up against Xabi Alonso, and that he came up saying, no. It's a whole situation, right? People interpret it in a bunch of different ways, right? But for him to not play him as a right back in that certain game when he needed to play as a right back, when he was really the best option, for him not to play that position and practically playing where he wanted to play, because Xabi Alonso, it practically means that Xabi Alonso was listening to him, to the players, rather than what he actually thought was beneficial for the team. Because beforehand, we saw him playing as a right back because he knew that was beneficial for the team. So that's when we really started to see he's losing the plot here. He's losing the plot when it comes to managing these players and who's the real authority figure. And we all know the easiest thing to do for Florentino is to get rid of the manager than the players. Because when Xabi Alonso started to lose the players, like Vinicius Jr., we know how the fan bases are. It gets split. We have Vinny FC versus the ones that support the manager, Xabi Alonso FC. And Vinny FC is always going to win because Vinny FC has brought Champions Leagues to Real Madrid, has brought titles to Real Madrid, success and happiness to Real Madrid, where Xabi Alonso has done jack shit as a manager. So he's losing the fan base as well, and man, it's unfortunate for Xabi Alonso. He just couldn't do it. He just couldn't do it. And again, if it came down to himself decided to leave, it's understandable, bro. It's understandable. This job was just too big. These players' egos are just too big. It's going to be difficult to really coach them and get the style of football that you want if you can't even have them listening to you, right? We saw the amount of tactical changes he has to make throughout the whole season. His training sessions has to change things to, make the players feel better and do what they enjoy instead of what is beneficial for the team and what Xabi Alonso wanted. So in the end, it led to the sacking, or again, whatever, the mutual agreement of Xabi Alonso leaving Real Madrid. Maybe later in the future, we'll see what the actual situation is. As to now, I haven't seen any type of press conference from Xabi Alonso or anything, but we'll see maybe the truth come out later on. Maybe Xabi Alonso in the future will say, hey, I left because I lost the players, they didn't respect me anymore, and I couldn't do it myself, or we're going to see that he'll say that, no, they sacked me. I don't know. We'll see later in the future. But man, I really thought he was going to last until the end of the season, but it's cut through in these big teams, bro. It's cut through. If you don't respect the team or if you continue to show failure, you're gonna get sacked. You're gonna get sacked, and Xabi Alonso was just another one of those guys who got sacked at Real Madrid, of the countless managers they've had. Now, looking at the future of Real Madrid, it's a lot of question marks. It's a lot of question marks. Again, Arbeloa now being there, I don't think any type of Madrid fan will be anywhere near convinced with him now taking charge or having any type of confidence that he'll bring a difference to Real Madrid. As a Barca fan, if I'm laughing at it, I can't imagine how Real Madrid fans are looking at it. They're probably laughing or crying in the inside because, come on, if Xabi Alonso, as a great player that he was, can't earn the respect from these players, what is Arbeloa going to do? What kind of respect is Arbeloa going to gain from these players? Unless he's just going to go with the Ancelotti gimmick and just go like, all right, I'll do what you guys want. I'll give you guys a formation. Everyone plays where they want to play. Just play through the players and hope and pray that the players step up and win them titles. I don't know, but yeah, man, it's looking tough. But I think the main thing that's looking like trouble and like just massive troubles for Real Madrid is, we all know Xabi Alonso was coming in to be the successor of Ancelotti, to bring, like I said, bring new ideas, bring new tactics, to have Real Madrid playing great football, and on top of that, having the respect from the players because he was a great player. Look, he's going to do great things with this team, and in the end, it didn't work out, right? Now, what other option do they have? Because now we're seeing that player power is clearly a main issue at Real Madrid, and if that's a main issue, we know how difficult it is to get rid of the players. Having to reset the whole club just to fit in, just to get rid of the egos and the player powers, that's a much difficult task. So they now have to look for a manager who is able to handle that. And the question is who? I don't think Zinedine Zidane is going to go to Real Madrid anytime soon. We all know that he practically wants the France job, so he's waiting for that. So probably after this summer, we'll see what happens. We'll see in the summer what happens, because I'm sure this is probably Deschamps' last World Cup. Who knows? If it is, then I'm pretty sure Zidane is going to take over there. But if Deschamps decides to stay, or they want Deschamps to stay, then Zidane may go back to Real Madrid, right? But that's still looking like a very iffy situation. But besides Zidane, who else? Who else? Player power is a massive problem, and if player power is that big of a problem as we think it is, Real Madrid are cooked. They're cooked for next years to come because these players have long contracts. These players are still staying at Real Madrid for many more years. So if that's the case, I think Real Madrid are going to be suffering for these last couple of years. And I think the main question mark has to be asked, did Kylian Mbappe ruin this team? Ruin this team, man. Did he ruin it? Because yes, he's scoring a bunch of goals. Yes, he's looking like a great player, being the most important player for Real Madrid so far this season, scoring a bunch of goals. But did it break the dynamics of the team? Did it break the chemistry of the team? Because this one guy came in being the most paid player, being now the main superstar compared to the other superstars around him who were already achieving things for Real Madrid when Mbappe didn't. Now he's taking on the spotlight. Are the other players around him salty? Who knows? Of course, Real Madrid currently don't look like they have any type of captain material player either, because the likes of the veterans of Modric, Toni Kroos, they're all gone. So who's going to be the key figure there now? Valverde? Come on, I don't believe that, man. But I don't know, man. This player power is looking like a major problem for Real Madrid, and I fucking love it. I love it. I can't lie. I love all this, so I don't care. I don't care. But genuinely, I want to hear you guys' opinions about this whole situation of Xabi Alonso, especially any Madrid fans. If you guys are watching, let me know down your opinions of what about the sacking. Are you happy with the sacking? Do you think it was the right decision, or do you think that it was rushed and it was a terrible decision, and practically you're writing the season off for the remainder months of the season? Let me know down all that in the comments below. Make sure to like, subscribe, favorite, hit the notification bell for every time I upload. Show your friends love football, and I'll see you guys in the next video, whenever that is. Much love, take care, and peace.